Okay, yeah, you might see some cats here. It's okay. All right, so today we're going to build a little tiny app. A friend of mine actually gave me this demo as an example of. I'm going to turn the audio off over here. An example of what. Where is my thing getting the audio from? I want to go to. Stop the preview. I have the preview over there. Okay, we're good. Where were we? Right. So a friend of mine gave me this example as something he was using for an interview, and it's actually fairly broad in terms of the stuff that it covers. I thought, oh, it's just a table view. It's got some bullshit in it. Whatever. It's easy. But it covers a lot of interesting things, and so I wanted to figure out what how we would make this project, right? So let's start a new project here. Let's call it color box thing, and yeah, we're gonna get started. Put that right on the desktop. Care about that stuff. Make that real big. Make this real big so that everyone can see it. Dusk large. Excellent. Okay, so the basics of this app. Give me just a second here. You know what we should probably do about this? We should probably get people involved in this on the Twitter. Let's talk to the Twitter. We're building some stuff in Swift. Okay, go away there. All right, so the idea behind this thing is that we've got this header for the table as it's the color preview, right? And it's going to remain fixed at the top of the table, and then we've got a bunch of table views at the bottom there. And one of those things sounded too much like Hey Siri, and and then when you tap one of these cells, the color up here changes. And then there's expandable sizes to cells, and then it pulls all the data in from JSON somewhere else, right? So so we've got a couple things going on here. We've got some network request stuff, some sort of medium to advanced table view stuff, and we're going to put it all together in something that can be grown and expanded to a bigger app, right? So we're thinking big here. We can do just like a basic NSURL request, but we're actually going to put together a client and do all that sort of stuff. And yeah, this is going to be fun. So let's look. Where should we start with this? I'm going to go with the basic storyboard sort of outline for this thing, because that makes a whole lot of sense. I am watching this over here on YouTube as well. So if you have comments and things, I will get to questions on chat as well. So please put your comments in the chat. This will probably take like, I'm going to guess like hour and a half. Let's see if we can get through all of it. But I'm going to be explaining a lot of it as we go. So there's I'm not going to be able to accurately guess how long this is really going to take us. So what we really want here is a table. I'm perfectly happy with this view controller being as it is right here. I don't have a big problem with making it a strictly table view controller. The only time I really use a table view controller is when I'm doing stuff with a search controller with it, because it ties in really nicely in storyboards. And in terms of like when to use storyboards and when not to use storyboards, I don't know. It's like personal preference, right? Some people hate storyboards and can't stand them. Particularly when you're working with teams of other people. For the most part, though, I love storyboards because they're easy to get views up and running. And when you want to tweak layouts, you can just get up there and like really get at it without having to sit around and try and guess what 10 pixels is or what the alignment should be between these two things. And this is all going to change a whole lot with when we can use layout anchors in iOS 9 and above, right? If you don't have to support iOS 8. But for the moment, storyboards are the way easier thing if you're doing a lot of UI heavy work. I wouldn't bother with anything else. But that's a controversial opinion. I am still trying to figure out what this looks like on. All right, I'm just going to be on the YouTube page, I guess, watching the chat a little bit. All right, so table view here. Let's clean this up a little bit. Always got to remove all this crap whenever you create a new view controller. To start, I have no idea if we're going to need one of these, but it's always a good idea to create some IB outlets for table views because you're usually needing those sorts of things. Table view, we're happy with that. Generally I don't make extensions for things until after I need a bunch of stuff and things are getting all cluttered. But in this case, I know most of our stuff is going to happen in the table view delegate stuff and the data source, so you might as well just do that, right? UI table view. It's going to not be the tab bar delegate. Table view delegate. I'm using the newest beta of Xcode as well. I know some things have changed with the view data source. I know some things have changed with the auto completion, and I'm not quite good with it yet. I can't quite predict what I should type to get to what I want yet. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Let's see. We need to implement a couple required things. I usually do number of rows in section to start. Return 1 for now. Cell for, there's that it, right? Now you don't have to type table view to get to the table view stuff. It'll autocomplete anywhere in the method name. That is fantastic. I love that. Let's see, we're gonna do table view. We're gonna dequeue that cell. Make sure you do the one with the index path so that it can reuse the proper cells. We're just going to call a cell for now. You should probably put something more descriptive in here, but we'll come back and do that in a minute. We'll probably cast this as a custom cell type in a moment, but I just want to get this all up and running here. I think that's all we have to implement. What the hell is it complaining about up here? Oh, right. Forgot to add that explicit thing. Yeah, we're good there. Okay, let's hook this all up into the storyboard here so we can start to get going. Grab that. Table view is that table view. We're pretty happy with that. And that gets the table view all up and running. I'm not even going to bother building and running at this point because there's nothing interesting going on here. So what are we going to do first? Let's create this demo table cell here. We're not going to make it expand quite yet, but we can set up how everything is organized together, right? So table views are very, very rarely just UI table view cells. Mostly what I want is a subclass of one of these table view cells. So we're going to create a new file. We're going to make that, we'll make it a color box, table view cell. And of course we have to do this. And we have to do color box table view cell. That's nice that we get to autocomplete there. And it's a subclass of UI table view cell, which is always handy to have around. So, right, we were saying what things we wanted from this. Let's go back and look at our preview. So we need to have a little color box that has a background color on it, and then a title and a description. So let's give us IB outlet week var, and we'll make our little color view, which is just a UI view, right? And we'll do the same thing for both our title label, UI label. I like to keep my IB outlets naming fairly consistent with what types they are. So you'll notice I end them with part of what type they are. And And it's just super helpful when you have like 20 or 40 IB outlets, which is sometimes unfortunate and maybe a time when you should move away from storyboards. But when you do have a lot of IB outlets or a lot of properties in general, and they're all sort of view stuff, keeping track of which one is a label, which one's a view, which one's a text field, that's pain. So naming them together nicely is always a good thing to do. All right, we have all that stuff. I always do a configure function for my table view cells so that I can move the configuration out of the self-heroic index path immediately. It doesn't have to contain anything right now. We're going to open up that, and we're going to open up our view controller again, and then we have to hook everything up in the storyboard again, right? So we've got this one dynamic prototype here. Let's measure to see how big this thing is. I use Xscope constantly for this sort of thing if I don't have Photoshop or something handy. So this cell is like 125, and then the color box itself is, let's call that 75. So go away, Xscope. Let's go to the table view and say that our cells, our row height is 125 there. And then we'll go to our cell and say that its row height is custom 125. And then we'll go down here and grab the view. And that was not specific enough. I happen to know views are all the way down at the bottom though. And we'll throw that view in there. And what did we say it was? 75? 75, 75. So I'm just going to walk through and configure all this stuff. I'm going to set the background to something that's nice by default. Let's see, if we center this vertically in the container, we're going to set width and height with that. I'm very, very lazy, and sometimes I don't feel like going down to the very, very bottom right corner and adding stuff via this menu here. We'll do that in a little bit, actually. It sort of depends on what kinds of things I'm adding constraints to, and that super, super basic one is super easy. Just like, what was I doing? Control dragging to get to the constraint builder there? Yeah. And then if you just drag on itself, right, you get the width and height stuff. And then if you drag to other containers or like the parent container or other things that are in the view with it, obviously you get the constraints with that. Let's keep doing the label stuff. Labels. We need 2 labels. One's the title. This particular one is the font. I think for this whole thing is set to Helvetica, which is obviously not the system font anymore. Not even Nuya, just regular old Helvetica. So we're going to go back and do that. This is going to feel a little throwback to some iOS, what was it? iOS 8? What was the last one that used Helvetica there? Let's stick with that. Title's good. Do some basic layout stuff here. And throw another label in there for the description. And do the same thing with the font. I did not want to align it like that. The font, custom, family, Helvetica, regular, 17. 17 is probably good for now. We want this. I know we're going to have it expand later, but I want it to be at least 2 lines high right now. So we're going to do description, line 2, just to test it out a bit. And then we need to adjust the height here to make sure that it's can fit 2 lines as it is. Come on, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. Seriously, what the hell's going on here? Oh, right, we didn't adjust lines over here. 2. Now let's get that height set nicely so that it's snug on 2. That's perfect. All right, so for the title here, I actually want the title to be a little bit larger. What do we have in the preview? Oh, that's like bold and like, I don't know, 22-ish. And this is probably a little smaller than I made it. Right, so we'll go back up here and go away Xscope. Bold. You know, I was looking at some live streaming stuff, and I was looking at like Live Coding TV, livecoding.tv, and maybe that's not 22. Maybe that's like 21. I actually have a sketch file for this, so I could look, but I'm eyeballing it because I don't feel like opening Sketch. So I was looking at Live Coding TV, and you know, it really drove me crazy because everyone who's on Live Coding TV is just assuming that they want to watch. You want to watch people code stuff and have like music, and that's it. And I think that's super, super boring, right? You need something going on, someone telling you like what's happening or like what the deal is. We're gonna mix. We're gonna do like top for this, right? So then the tops will align. And generally, what I would like to do with text is I don't set the height of it, and I'll just dial down the height until it's the expected height for that font, and Xcode Interface Builder sort of tells you that stuff. So we'll do the same thing here. We'll do horizontal spacing on the left here, and we'll do some trailing space, and then we'll align the bottoms here. Actually, we're not going to align the bottoms here because that's going to fuck it up when we do the expandable stuff. So we're just going to link the vertical spacing above that, and then reduce the height here until it's just perfect. All right, and now we have to hook up everything and make sure this is the right class, right? So this was a color box table view cell, and that is all we have to do there. Actually, that's not all we have to do there. Let's go back to that table view cell and set the reuse identifier. We'll call this color cell, because that's how we're rolling with this. All right, so we need to set up those ID outlets for the cell, so we're going to go over here and grab our color view and drag it over here, and our description label and drag it over here, and title label and drag it right there. All right, I'm happy with that. Let's go back to the view controller and make sure that's all set up right. We call this color cell or something, color cell, and of course we know that this is going to come through as a color box table view cell, and that that has a configure function, right? So that's handy. At this point, I think we should probably just preview it. I like to preview it on regular old iPhone 6, and this is going to pop up on 6.9.3 simulator because, as I said, I installed the newest Xcode beta. I definitely did not do that correctly. What am I doing wrong here? Did I connect the stuff in the storyboard? I did not. Plunk. I got to set those delegate data source outlets. And now we're going to do this again, right? So what was I saying, right? So it drives me crazy when people don't do some sort of voiceover with their live coding stuff. So apologies if I'm super boring, but I'm not going to do it any other way because that's just how we roll here. All right, what am I thinking about this so far? I mean, it looks pretty much like we want it to look. I like to tackle a couple small things right when I'm looking at it, though. So, like the lines that are the separator lines, we'll remove the what's it called, or the insets on those, right? So I can never find the separator inset default. Set the custom 0 on the left side. That's how it should be. We're happy with that. All right, what to do next? I could put the header in next. Yeah, I'm going to put the header in next because we're in the table stuff. We might as well do it, right? Plus, this is a handy little hack for doing accessory views on tables. So grab a UI view. Don't drag it into the view. Drag it into the header here. And boom, we've got a little view that's not placed in the header anywhere, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to build our header view inside this view. And we're going to set an ID outlet to it. And then whenever we want to, when we want to pull it in as a header, we'll just reference that. And we won't actually have it cluttering up all of our space on the table view here. So that is like pro tip, one of my favorites, honestly, because no one knows about it. And it is, it's just an awesome hack. Set the background color to something that is not white so that I can tell it has a background color. And go back in and we're just going to grab this title, actually, this label here. I'm going to copy it into the thing here. And How much bigger was that one? It was pretty big, still bold. I'd say it's like maybe 26-ish, centered. 26, that looks perfect to me. And then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna center vertically. Did I give this a height? I didn't, it just gave me a default height. What am I actually looking for though? I'm looking for 160-ish, right? And 160, really? That was gigantic. Yeah, let's go with, I mean, the width doesn't really matter because we'll set that later. It'll just, you know, fill in the header thing. 160 is huge. All right, let's go with it anyway. And then what we're going to do is we're going to center vertically, and in this case, rather than just giving it a width and centering it horizontally, I'm just going to drag these things out to the leading and trailing spaces. And of course, our height is too small. Perfect. Okay, so that thing is our view that we need to configure up in here. IB outlet. We're going to call this our header view using our convention as we did before. And grab that stuff. Let's see, do we need to set another IV outlet just for the text? No, we're not going to change the text. So we don't need to set an IV outlet for it. If we needed to change the text, I would totally create another IV outlet. But we're just going to call this color box IO. And actually the color is supposed to be white because it's on, that was the wrong thing to switch to, because it's on a different dark color here. So I'm going to go with, yeah, let's switch this up. Let's make this so it's actually going to work right when we see it, right? Make that white and then go to the background here, and we'll plop that back to, I don't know, we'll make it like dark gray so that it stands out a little bit. And then we need to set that outlet, right? So this is the whole handy header view thing that we did before. So we drag that right to the view there. And now we have a handy header view that we're going to be able to use when we grab our header view for our table view controller, which I can never remember how to do. There's so many fucking weird things for how to do the header views. I can never get it to work on the first try. But I have a reference here that I remember what it is. Let's see. We have to say height for header and then view for header. Right, got it. We're going to do that. Documentation is fantastic. Height for header is return 160, and then view for header. I love the new completion. New auto completion is fantastic. Return header view. Perfect. It's beautiful. Yeah. Okay. So we got some stuff working here. I'm pretty sure that's gonna display our header view, but let's check it out to find out. Fresh Simulator. It did in fact, but it did not. It did not resize it widthwise. Plus, I don't like this thing being not the right color. All right, so we need to set our cell width on our header view width to our table view width. How are we going to do that? We could just hack it and be like, this is very non-auto layout-y, but you know, with tables and cells, you have to use auto layout outside of the table, and then the cells are automatically laid out inside, and then you can use auto layout again inside the table cells. So I have a feeling this might actually be the right way to do things. So we're going to go like header view and frame width, and we're just going to set that to the table view frame width. And that is totally not going to work because we need to set the whole frame. Oh, bummer. It's nice to be able to access all these like little tiny properties in Swift because you couldn't do that in Objective-C, but the fact that you had to do this, can we set size instead? Fuck it, we'll just do rect because we know that most of the stuff is going to be 0 and this is going to be that, and height is just going to be hell, we could even call like Nah, fuck it. Header view, frame, nope. Frame, height. And now, we just still didn't do it correctly. What am I doing wrong here? Table view, frame, width. I wonder if this hasn't gotten its width stuff by the time that we were setting everything out. Maybe we just didn't set things up correctly. No, it's got all the right stuff. All right, let's move on. We'll come back to it later. Maybe my brain will be working then. Yeah, we'll set that. Yeah, I'm still working on this in the back of my head. All right, so now we've got some stuff. We need to get some data in here, right? So the whole point of this is that the reason it sort of expands more, it's a little bit more general than you'd think, is that these colors are all coming from some JSON file. And we're going to download that with some sort of a API client and pop that in here. So I'm going to do a little shameless self-promotion here. We'll do a new thing here. We'll call this color client. And if you have not read the excellent that thing in Swift post on making your own API clients, I highly suggest it. Not just because I wrote it, but also because I think it's very good. I've used it in lots and lots of projects, and this general organization is killer. So, all right, let's start with the part where we're not going to do like a whole thing here, but we're going to do like a micro one. So we'll start with the thing that generates the data task. We'll call this class color client, and it doesn't need a superclass, and we're going to make it a little singleton here, even though it doesn't really need to be one. All right, I'm pretty happy with the data task thing. So I'll explain all of this in just a moment here. We're going to do get for that, because that's all I need to implement right now. And then we'll do this whole client URL request thing, which we can tear a bunch of bullshit out of at the moment. Let's see, that's data task. Data task calls... Oh, no, we use data task with client URL request, right? So I'll organize these this way. And let's go through this a little bit just for fun. We'll remove this stuff because we don't need it, right? So the way we use this is if you say get colors is our API request, getting out the frame here. Get colors, I'll do the completion block in a minute. Then we can chain these three things together, get, as in the method name, the making the URL request, and the generating the data task together in this really nice way. So we do like get, and then we do client URL request, and then we provide the path there. The path in this case is going to be on that thing in swift.com. Why are there 18 people watching now when there's only 5 a moment ago? Just give me half a moment here to check the Twitter. Oh no, we're back to 8. So that's reasonable. Oh no, there are a few people on Twitter. Okay, we're good. Hello people from Twitter. I think this was at... Oh crap, I have to look it up. I don't remember where it was. When streaming, it's always nice to have a little computer on your side. As in like a MacBook, not a physically... Well, it actually is a physically smaller computer as well. Let's see what we put it in. We put it in video source, colors.json. That's right? That is super right. And so we did that, and then we need to do the completion block here, which very inconveniently is not auto-completing for me. There we go. completion, success object. In a lot of projects, I replace this success object stuff in here with result types, which, if you're not familiar, work very similar to optionals in the sense that it either returns success in some object or failure and a failure case, like a error enum. In this case, I'm just going to leave it like this. I don't like having boilerplate code like this have a whole lot of extra requirements to it, dependencies for it. So there's no reason to start with it. But once you get filled up with all this stuff, it's always nice to transition to something like result. So you can pass the results all the way through and get, you know, your success objects flowing through your requests and your errors. You know, it's super, super easy. Plus the syntax for switching between success and failure is so much better than checking for, you know, whether or not your object can be cast to like dictionary string any object or some bullshit, right? So, right, so we're gonna get this thing, we're gonna get this JSON file, and then we need to pop it out of JSON and into our model object, I guess, right? That's what we want to do. We're gonna treat this thing like it's a pretty big deal. Like we're gonna, you know, be working on this for a month in the future, two months in the future. So we wanna create some model objects and do that sort of thing. For the moment, though, let's see, what does this JSON look like? All right, so you're gonna just kind of trust me on what the JSON looks like at the moment, or we can actually just grab it right here, right? That thing in Swift.com. Video source colors.json. Oh, it totally didn't work because it wasn't HTTPS. Video source colors.json. There we go. Okay, so we have a it's dictionary string any object for the containing object, and then we have a results key, which is an array of another dictionary, which has a bunch of other bullshit in it, right? So let's do this. Let me go back to the thing here. We are good. We're going to do a bit of, let's see, what are we going to do here? The thing I like to do is let the model object unwrap each individual object. Take it from JSON and do its own thing with it with a failable initializer. So if this were a more complex project, I might wrap this whole request in some sort of a model object that represented the whole thing, and then failable initializer that, and then within that failable initializer each of the individual colors. But at this point, what I think we're just going to do is we're just going to do some basic unwrapping object right here, and then we're going to loop through each one of them and call the initializer on each of the smaller color model object, because that makes more sense to me. This is going to be dictionary string any object. That is in fact what we want to think of it as. And then we'll chain this together with what is it called, results. Results equals object results, and then we're going to say that's definitely a array of dictionary string any objects, right? So that'll get us all the type information we need to move on from here. And I hate the fact that this isn't lined up. Anyway, for result in results, and then we're going to init our color with dictionary, right? So let's think about our model object here for a minute. We'll make a new little thing here. We'll make a new file. We'll call the color box. And we'll work through this a little bit. Does color box need to know about UIKit? Let's pretend it doesn't for the moment. It does not, definitely does not. Struct color box. And then let's look at our JSON again for a moment. We've got a hex color. We've got a name, we've got a description, and we've got 3 RGB keys. Let's do the name and the description to start. Both of these are strings. I'm good with that. And then we'll do a failable initializer with our JSON, right? JSON is, this is going to be dictionary string any object. And let me check Twitter for a minute to make sure nothing's going on. We are good so far. And then essentially with this is where it gets fun with guards, right? Because you can be like, no comments either, right? Yeah, we're good. You can be like, guard let, we're gonna do names first, right? So name is assigned JSON, name, that's what we called it, right? It is name, else return nil, that's the failable initializer step, right? And then we'll do this again. We'll do guard let description equals JSON description, and you can do the return nils on the same line if you want. I'm more of a else on the next line kind of guy. We actually want to cast these to strings as well because they're any objects too. So we need to make sure that they're optionally cast as strings there. And then of course they're unwrapped through here, so it doesn't really matter, right? We're just making sure we get the right type from them. And we'll do self name equals name. Self name, this is description. Description is description, right? So that should be good with Xcode. Yes, it is. We'll go back to our color client and we'll say if let color equals, and then what do we call it? Color box. Color box. And our init is just with our individual result object, and if it does that, then what we want to do is we want to say, we'll add it to our little array here of color box objects, right? Colors, it's going to yell at me because it's not a var, so it's not mutable, but now we're good. All right, so we get the stuff, put it into a model object. That's super handy. This sort of like bit of a pyramid of doom thing here can be reduced if we wanted to create a bigger, sort of result model object or response model object, but we're good with that for now. Next thing we want to do is we want to return the color box objects to the main view controller, right? So how are we doing on time? 1:40. We are not moving nearly as fast as I thought we were going to move here. But that's fine. All right, so completion block stuff, which is just the worst syntax in the world. Completion. Let's see, we want to return an array of color box objects, and that should do it. Drives me crazy, I can never remember that stuff. And then completion is colors. I'm good with that. And actually what we want to do is we're going to do the completion with colors in here. And then really if we can't unwrap the stuff on the outside, then we'll just do, well, it'll give us an empty array either way. We might want to return an error here if it's not, if we can't unwrap that stuff, but for the moment, let's not worry about too many errors. Where do we do this? The view controller? View controller, view did load. We'll instantiate our colors client again. I say again, and I really mean for the first time. And we'll grab them colors, and in our completion, we'll do colors here. And then we want to keep a handle on those colors. So we're going to do let colors color box. And I really don't want to make these optional, but there's no way to inject this stuff in here. So I'm going to save our colors color box. No, you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, I'll start this with an empty array. It's not going to be optional. It's simply going to be mutable. And then we'll do self colors. Colors, we should be more careful about this whole self thing if we're going to be working on this for a long period of time. So let's default everything to weak because that makes the most sense. And then if for some reason we have some issues later on, we can always dump this down to unowned and get rid of the optional chaining stuff. But for the moment, weak is where you start with this sort of thing to be most safe and have the least amount of circular references. All right, so we've got the colors there. We want to hook the table up so that it responds to all this stuff. So colors, count, and cell. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to configure our cell to take. Come on, you can do it autocomplete. Oh, I can't do it. Color, box, table, view cell. There we go. All right, this is going to take a color box object, and we'll do some configuration with that in a moment. And it's going to complain to me that we've changed the signature, and we want the color here. But color is our colors array at index path row, right? And we'll just pass the color in there. And Xcode's going to tell us that that is not named correctly. So we're going to have let's set the title and the description there. Self, title label. Why did I use self here? I don't need self here. Title text is color. We call that name here because we're going with the names that were in the JSON file, which is fine. Maybe I'd switch it from name to title when it came through in our decoder, but for the moment, I think we're good. Right, got that, happy with that. We still need to reload the view after we get the colors here, so we'll do self table view reload data. We'll check Twitter again while we're building. Nothing new. And we've lost everything. Did it crash? No, but it is complaining at us. It is modifying the auto layout engine from a background thread. That is, I wonder if it's related to what we were doing down here. I bet it is. I bet it is. No, it's still complaining at us. What the actual fuck? Yeah, I know weird crashes. That is going to be super weird. Where else are we modifying auto layout? Oh, it's that reload data thing? That is some seriously messed up shit, man. All right, fine. Let's throw this on the main thread. Super weird. Maybe it's because it's weak? I don't know if I've ever had that issue show up before when I was doing something basic like reloading a table view. All right, let's do the dance. Dispatch async, and then we get the queue dispatch get main queue, and then here's the block, and then boom. Right. Oh, my Amazon thing was delivered. No complaints anymore, so I'm pretty happy about that. But also we have no data now. What is the hell? Oh, you know what? I bet something's failing in our failable initializer. Now we have to go through and check this shit out. Color box. Yes, because look at this. Because Xcode, of course, the first thing I want to look at, I want to autocomplete, is the fucking product. Or the project file that I'm working in. No, Please default me to something useful, like a source file or a method definition. God damn it. This seems pretty straightforward, so I highly doubt it's actually failing here. I suspect more likely it's failing when we do the initial wrapping in the client, which of course is not the first result. Results. Yeah, that's what we call it. Results. All right, well, you know what? Debugging is never the thing I want to do in front of other people. What's up, Zach Lloyd? Good, read the breakpoint. All right, let's see if the debugger actually works in Swift today. Let's print that object we got back. Hopefully it was successfully getting the object back. Oh, hooray, the debugger does not work today. I am so psyched about this. Back to print statements. Shit. I guess we can look through it here. Oh, this sucks. No, we can't. Fuck you, Xcode debugger. Even in the beta, you suck. I thought this was supposed to be fixed. Ugh. Man, I hate to do this. I hate to get all, like, print statement-y in here to debug stuff because it's the worst. Alright. Let's just take a look at this with brains for a moment. They're all strings. Any object matches any object. What am I doing? God damn. All right. First line of attack. What are we doing here? Oh, you know what? No, we did that. We serialized it. We got it out. We're good. All right. Well, you know what? Stupid debugger, man. Fuck. Now I have to do this stupid bullshit. I hate this. I really like this large font size. This is good stuff. I'm going to use my large font size constantly. All right, let's do this again. Right, we forgot our if statement when we were breaking that shit up. So what I really wanted to do here is look and see everything's right there. All our object stuff is there. Where did our results come in? Yeah, our results came through too. What's up? I guess we should have seen whether or not this was actually completing. It is not a live stream on the internet without a cat, that's for sure. What's going on, Zach Lloyd? Seriously. Internet live streams with a cat. Can you ask for anything more, really? Let's go back to where we unwrapped the color block stuff. Not the product, Xcode, not the product. All right, we're picking out name and description as strings. Well, first of all, description definitely is not spelled that way. That is probably our problem. Now the question goes here. Yeah, it was totally our problem. Hooray! So the question is here. Oh, I know exactly what that problem is up there. Ha ha ha. The interesting issue here is that if the description fails to get pulled out of the JSON, do we really want to fail creating the entire object? Probably not. We just want like the description to be nil, right? Or an empty string or something. So rather than returning nil here, let's do We really want an optional to deal with. This probably shouldn't be a guard. Fuck it. It's going to stay a guard. I'm pretty happy with that. It's working now, at least. But yeah, we could just do like, no, we'll go 2 different ones, right? So the first one is guard. So because that one basically has to exist for something to get put there, right? We want a name in all of our objects. Now, if we are able to get the description, we'll put the description there. If not, we'll do description is an empty string because we don't necessarily need to fail if we don't have a description, right? Let's get rid of all of our shitty debugging because that's shitty. Yeah, all right, so we did that. Now I got stuff showing up. Right, the thing that hit me while I was debugging other stuff was we inserted this table view. We didn't add any constraints for the table view, so that's why everything's going off the edge of the screen. The table view is still whatever, 600 pixels wide. So we'll do this very simple constrain off to margins, 0, 0, 0, 0, success, add constraints. Zachload apparently just wants to say hi. And now my trackpad has... All right, we got it. We're good. Let's see if this really fixed this. This really did fix it. Boom. Totally fixed it. I knew we didn't need to adjust that. All right. So let's get these colors changing a little bit here. Right? We want the colors to show up as well as the names and the descriptions and nonsense. This is a little chunky here, but I have a feeling that's just the simulator. There's nothing that's going on here that's so intensive that the machine can't deal with that, or at least a phone can't deal with that. Of course, that's all accelerated by the specialized hardware in the phone, so I'm not super worried about performance on this one. Because it shouldn't be a problem with the limited amount of data set that we have. All right, so in terms of colors, we're going to get some colors going in here. But before we do that, I'm going to get all Twitter reminding on people and remind people that we're doing this live stream on Twitter. But on a different Twitter account. Yeah, so what time is it in Tokyo? Because everyone's in Tokyo for Try Swift right now. Time in Tokyo. It is 7 a.m. Everyone is just getting up for, I believe, day 2 of Try Swift Conf, which is tryswiftconf.com, I believe. Definitely go there. It's supposed to be an excellent conference. Of course, you can't make it right now because, unless you're already there, of course. But there's always next year. All right, let's do... Where were we? We're going to unpack some freaking colors, right? So back into our model definition here. And let's see. Colors, in this case, are 3 values, 3 ints between 0 and 255, which is convenient because I believe that'll be easy to transform into a color. All right, so again, well, colors are sort of required here. Do you think we should make them a guard, or do you think we should make them a let? Like a if let block. Yeah, I'm gonna make the colors required, right? So first of all, color is a UI color, and it is required, of course. Guard let color is, let's call these like, first what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we get the colors from this array as the proper type. So it's going to be an RGB as array of integers, else return nil because we don't want to do that if that doesn't work. And then we're going to say that the color is UI color. Come on, that wasn't enough for you, Xcode? That's not specific enough, huh? What else is going on here? Oh, right. That's that missing UIKit import that we thought we weren't going to need. There we go. And then we're going to use the standard RGB stuff initializer here. And the thing about these floats is that they are actually between 0 and 1. They are not the 255 and 0 that we have before, that we have in the thing. So we're going to grab like, actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to save some extra time here and do like where colors count is 3. So that way we know there's 3 things in there. And we can just grab, let's see, we want to cast this to CG float as well. CG float, colors 0 divided by 255. And then we'll just grab these and do the same with that, the same with that at index 1 and 2. That'll get our color out, and then we'll just assign self color color. You happy with that, Xcode? And then we'll go back to our cell. What do we call it? Color box cell, table view cell, something like that. And we'll set our color view to our background color and our color view to color. Easy enough. Let's see if that works. Oh, no pretty colors. Some pretty colors. We are obviously not unpacking that RGB correctly because red and black, that strikes me as not the correct way to do things. Let's go back to that color box, the model, and trying to think of what I did on this before. Yeah. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong here. The results of this is an integer, and then dividing it by what the compiler assumes is going to be another integer is not going to, it's going to give us like 0 or 1, right? So what we really need to do is we need to assume that, rather cast the color, the integer coming out as a CG float, and then the division will automatically assume that the 255 is also a CG float. And that's good. Boom, colors. Awesome. Oh man, my trackpad is not doing well. All right, let's ditch that. What is this going on here? Our select goes away here. That's interesting. Our color goes away when we select it. Very weird. But then it comes back when we dequeue it. No, it doesn't come back. Very unusual. I'm going to swap over to this. All right. So we got colors good. The question is, what do we want to tackle next? Let's tackle the other requirement that says that we've changed this top one, this background color of the header view, when we click on one of these, right? So let's start by opting out of this selection nonsense because I don't have any interest in doing the default selection stuff. And then we'll do 2 things in the view controller. We will first, let's see, we're going to create a new function called selected color, which, no, we're going to be Swifty. We're going to say selected, and it takes a UI color, right? That is far more Swifty than saying selected color, color, which is very Objective-C. And then we're going to go header view background color and assign that our color value. So when we reload the data here, if there's if our colors array has items in it, if it's greater than 0, we're going to grab the first one and you do select it on it. So self, that'll give us a nice default for the first one. Self, we don't even need to use self for this one because we have a local object here. Colors first. We should probably do the same thing here and use the same colors array for both of them. What's wrong? Oh, right, because it's not just colors first, it's colors first color. It's a bit messy, but I don't really like to do dots after explicitly unwrapping stuff, but such is life, at least today. Okay. Let's get back on this. Let's do the selection here as well. So this automatically does that, as I thought. And we're going to go did select row at index path because that's the one we actually want. And we're going to grab the color out of our colors array, index path, row. What do we got? 2 p.m. And we're going to do selected on color, color. Yeah, so that should take care of our selected color stuff. All right, defaulted to the top one, and then anytime we click on a different one, gives us a different one. That's nice. All right, what else do we have to do in this? This is really just cleanup at this point. First of all, I want to change this header up here. I do not like the dark header on the dark header on the dark content. So let's, can never remember what this is called. Prefers light content, preferred status bar style, and then we return UI status bar style light content, which really we can just do this. I don't remember if you have to set the plist file object for that to get that to display correctly. Oh yeah, it's perfect. And it switches sort of like from dark to light when the thing shows up originally, which is, yeah, let's set the plist file. This is all about like getting things right. So go in here. I can never remember what this is called. Application prefers, and this doesn't even autocomplete, so there's no help in just looking through it. God damn it. Status bar style. Can we not use status bar style? Controller based status bar appearance. Yeah, that's what we want. Oh, I know what we want here. I know what our issue is. Our issue is in our launch screen one. Status bar style is, well, maybe not. This is just simulated metrics, so I can't imagine that that affects the launch, but I don't know, let's try it. Dark, light. You know what, actually I think that works pretty good there. I'm not gonna futz with it. All right, let's check our spec again, our micro spec. Color preview should remain fixed position at the top of the table. It changes when a user taps a cell. And then the length of the color description varies considerably. Ensure the cells are properly sized. Okay, here is the tough part. I wouldn't say the tough part. The part that has the most weird gotchas. You have to resize the table view cells depending on the text inside of them. Did we miss something in the JSON? I swear there was a third thing. Oh, it gave us to an in hex or RGB, and we just chose to use the RGB one. That sounds good to me. Table height. Table height. What is this called? Let's just flip through it here, see if we can find the table height thing with our new autocomplete cell height. Maybe like height for cell, height for footer, height for row at index path. That's what we want. So here's the tricky part about height for row at index path. In this case, we need to calculate the height of the text that we're displaying, but then we also need to add the space above and below it to make sure that we're calculating the cell height properly. So I know what we should do first. First, we should set that damn label to be as many lines as it wants, which is lines 0. And then we can see that it will overflow, and it will not like me because you said these were 125, I believe. Now watch as they overflow. Yes, overflowing. Okay, so we want to expand that stuff until it's better. All right, so the height of the whole thing is 125, but really what we care about is the height. Let's see, we've got the top space, which is top space, 14. No, it's trailing, align top, title label. Oh, you're right. We have all this stuff messed up. We don't actually know what the top space is because this is vertically aligned. All right, well then let's ditch the vertically alignedness and give it a top space so that it doesn't move around that much. Otherwise, our background box is going to be like scooching down, and we don't want that. We want it to stay up at the top right where it is. So our top space turned out to be 16. So top space is 16, and then we have the height of our label here, which is 16 at the top. Height is 25. So top label height is 25, and then the spacing between the label and the description is 7. So we're going to do that top label spacing 7. And so what we want to do here, let's give this a quick thing here. Text height is, let's call it 12. Let's call it 40 for the moment. We're going to calculate it in a moment, right? So what we're going to return here is the top space, the top label height, and the top label spacing, plus the text height, and then the top spacing again, which is really just the bottom spacing, right? So this is going to complain because it wants the CG float. And I don't particularly care about converting all those. Oh, this text site's going to be CG float too, isn't it? All right, CG float it is. Doot. Yeah. All right, so that's going to be way too small. So we have to use yet another thing that I can never remember. It is bounding rect with size, right? So we take the color, right? So we gotta grab the color again from our index row. Whoa, what happened there? Index path row. So that gets us our color, and then our text is color description. This is like a NS string method, so we have to do some cute casting here. Bounding rect with size. Okay, this is what we want, right? So let's start with the. Let's just estimate the width of this for the moment. Right, so this is going to be the bounding rect that it draws the text in. Then we're going to get the height of the text as a whole. So CG size. Oh, come on. Let's estimate it at 240, and then height is like. Some people use like CG float max here. I think that nothing's going to be longer than 10,000 pixels, so we're good with that. And then our string drawing options are something like uses line fragment origin. And then we have to set up our attributes for what the font size and font name are. So throw that together, and then the context. We can use the default, which is just in a string drawing context. Don't need to mess with another context there. This is going to return a rect. Let text rect. It is 212. 2 damn 12. Okay, what is it complaining about now? Other than the fact that I haven't provided it with any attributes yet, which I know is going to be an issue. Oh, it was complaining about that. NS font attribute name, that's perfect. And then this is going to be actually a font object, so UI font. For some reason, it just doesn't want to autocomplete any of this stuff anymore. We used Helvetica, not the Neue version, and we specified it as 17. And fonts, because they're using strings to identify them, are all optionals. Good with that. Text rect is not used, right? That's the whole point. And then we're going to grab this text type, which is text rect height now. All right, I don't think it's going to be right in the first try, but let's give it a shot. Boom, that's actually pretty damn close. I'm quite surprised, actually. So you can see there's a little bit of weirdness here. This one is sort of fairly close to the bottom here, and then this one's very far away. So I don't think we got this width exactly perfect in here, but I'm not entirely sure that I care too much about it. We could futz with this for lots of time to try and get the text displaying just perfectly, but for now, I think we did a damn good job. We did some API requests, made our little API client, we did some failable initializers and some guard statements in our model object. We threw some stuff together in our storyboard, and yeah, we put it all together in this nice little package thing. So that was a good intro. Good little setup for me for how to do more of this stuff in the future, and yeah, that was fun. I'm gonna try and put this up on That Thing in Swift and throw together some. I don't want to say closed captioning, but like like snippets from the video so that people can reference them when they're watching the video. And yeah, that's good. If you have any ideas for what to do next time, I'm all ears. I have a little list of stuff that I could potentially work on for next time, but I want more stuff. I want to do more stuff. So let's let's come back and do this again in, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks. We'll figure it out. All right. Thank you for everyone who showed up. See you next time.